Hey guys, backyard scrapping here. Well, it's a beautiful day outside. It is Tuesday. I've actually been trying to get out here since Sunday to try and work on this stuff, and it seems that every single solitary time I made it out here, something came up and I had to quit. So in any case, I'm going to be doing some testing today on this stuff. I read so much my eyes bled trying to figure this stuff out, and I actually had a conversation in the comments section with jonrms, and he pointed out a few things that I might have overlooked, and one of them was lead. And the reason I didn't even think of lead is because there was just so much of it, and we had such a little amount of contacts, really. Even with this settled out, that jar is still half full. But some of the points he made actually made a lot of sense. Now, this was our solids that I filtered off of this stuff. This is actually our test that we did with the hydrochloric acid for silver chloride, which has actually settled out. You can see that's clear now. At the end of the last video that was white, but that was the silver chloride. So we know we do have silver still in these solutions. We know there's still silver in this solution. What we're trying to do is figure out what all this is. So it could be nickel, it could be lead, it could be palladium, and the more research I've done, I'm kind of leaning away from palladium on this, more towards the lead. But here, after we've gotten all the silver and everything off, you saw this in the video in the second part where this was actually turning red. Well, now this has been off and settled out. You can see there's still quite a bit of contacts down here and also some powder. But I tested this solution and it did show positive, kind of positive, for palladium. In other words, I tested it with stannous chloride. I didn't get any white, so I know that there was, the silver's gone from it, but I did get a color change. So we're going to actually keep this stuff separate for right now, and what we're going to do is go ahead and work on this stuff. Now today I'm going to be working with hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, and this nasty stuff. This is concentrated sulfuric acid. I do not know where my chem gloves went, because whenever you're working with this stuff, you should actually use some, really heavy chem gloves. All I have are my regular gloves. So I may be cutting in and out. I'm not going to be overly concerned with making a video, and goofing up while I'm using this stuff. I'll include what I can, but if I have to, really start being technical and careful, I may cut it, just stop the I don't want to be worried about making a video working with this and, and make a mistake with this stuff, because you don't want to make mistakes with this. As far as I'm concerned, this is even more dangerous than nitric acid. This is just some bad news stuff. I consider it even worse than nitric acid. The only thing I think it's worse than this is hydrofluoric acid, and I don't even touch hydrofluoric acid. But in any case, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get started. I'm going to do a few little tests, actually a couple that John, suggested that I do on this stuff. I am going to just siphon this off to here. We are going to drop, I know there's more silver in this solution, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that with sodium chloride. Get that out. Then we're going to get this filter this down, or clean this down, and then we're going to do some tests with some sulfuric acid on this, on just about everything. I just want to see what this is going to, come out. And if, as we go through it, we'll go through it. But like I said, if it gets to the point where I'm having to use this too much and, try to worry about making a video, I'm not going to, I'm going to just cut that out or pause it out, because like I said, I don't want to be preoccupied with making a video and make a mistake with this stuff. So I will get back to you when we get set up. Alrighty guys. What we're going to do here is, first we're just going to do a quick tiny little test. I'm actually filtering off the rest of that. That is what filtered off of the contacts that we redid. That is what came off of our drop. I actually want to do a stannous test on this fluid. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our little tray, we're going to take a stick, we're going to get a drop of this solution, we're going to put it right there. And we're going to test this with some stannous chloride to see what we have. Now, if there's silver left in this, now this was the second run of the contacts that didn't dissolve. If there's silver in this, even though this is stannous chloride, we should still get a little white, quick white ring around this. If there's palladium in it, we should get a darker stain. If there's nothing in it, nothing will happen. But there are possibilities of false positives too, but I just want to see so I know where to go with that stuff next, what we have in it. So we are going to do some stannous on this right now. And I got a tiny little white ring. So that says that there is a tiny bit of silver in it, but I also, I don't know if you can see that darker coming out from under? That's the silver. Above here where it's white is the silver, but you see this coming out? So that's saying, now the color should be, if it was palladium, it should be greener, I would believe, or yellow. I think it's greener, a little bit greener, but it's kind of a drab green, but I just don't know. Okay guys, we're back again. Well, bad news on this. jonrms is exactly right. This is lead and silver. Well, what I did while I was off camera, because I had to be really careful with this, because I mean, I'll put another drop in just so you can hear it, but I stuck my pipette down in there and I sucked out some of just that metal, and then what we did was we took and we put a few drops of sulfuric acid in it, and you can hear it go in, and it is actually dissolving the lead and leaving the silver behind. So you can see that. See the silver in the bottom? I don't know if you can see it, but that is actually the silver. And you can hear it reacting. So I'm going to let that react a little bit more, because that will not go in the solution, but the lead will. So we're just going to leave that in there to react a little bit more. So this material, he was dead on. Lead. Okay guys, we're back again. I just wanted to update you again. Being that we now know we're dealing with lead, I do still think there might be a little bit of palladium in this stuff. I don't know how much, but this again was from our drop, so we still have all that to contend with. I'm trying to determine now the best way to get that back. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take this solution and I'm going to go ahead and mix me up some distilled water and sodium chloride or just plain salt. Now I'm not using salt that has iodine in it or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is make a saturated solution of salt or salt water, and we are going to put that on the warmer, get it good and dissolved. And this is just, Actually, what this is like canning salt, because there's nothing in it but salt. So I'm going to go ahead and let that start dissolving. Like I said, we now know that the majority of this is lead. Right now, this is what we did to test it with the sulfuric acid. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very well. I'm going to try and get it, but in the bottom, you can see the silver, where this has reabsorbed the little bit of copper and the lead and just left the silver behind. Like I said, I don't know how well you can see that. I'm trying to catch it. So we do know that that is lead. It is not palladium, the majority of it. That's one option of getting the silver back out. That option is really going to take a long time and really hazardous, because I'm basically just going to have to drip the sulfuric acid into it, and I don't know about doing that. So what I did was I took some of the sludge and I actually put it in dilute nitric acid again, and it is re-dissolving. So I think this is the more expensive route, but it's going to be the safer route, I believe. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just re-dissolve that material. It'll dissolve the lead, the silver, it's going to dissolve everything, whatever's in there back. But you can see now that had, about this much of the sludge in it. And it is redissolving and all going back into solution. I'm going to let it continue to make sure that it all does. I think that's the route I'm going to go to redissolving this stuff, and then we're just going to drop it with sodium chloride and get the silver chloride out of it. That's going to save us a lot of grief. I am still, like I said, going to have to fiddle with this stuff because I'm not positive. There's only a little bit of silver in it, and there's something else, and I don't know what the something else is yet. So anyway, I'm going to get this on the burner, get it dissolving. We're going to drop our silver out of this. We know there's lead in it, so we're not going to even bother with any more of that. We'll drop that out when we clean our solution to dispose of it. But thank you very much, John RMS. I overlooked this little test, and sometimes we do that. I just have never seen that much lead come out of such a little amount of contacts. But once again, like I said, we never know when we're doing this. We never know what we're going to get. So, okay, guys, we're just going to recap real quick here. We have determined that is lead and silver. We did our test with our sulfuric acid, which there is only silver left in the bottom here now, so we do know that that is not palladium, or the majority of it. Not saying there isn't a trace in there. I've actually redissolved this material using dilute nitric acid, and it's 100% gone. I mean, it's just going to be the best way, I think, to do this, the safest way. Like I said, I would have to just sit here and just basically drip sulfuric acid into this until it all dissolved. It would leave just the silver at the bottom. All the other metals would be in solution, but I mean, that process is going to take forever. So being that the test showed that I can redissolve it with the nitric acid, even though this is going to be a more expensive process, I'm not going to lose the silver now. We've got too much work into this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a beaker. In this beaker, we're going to use the dilute nitric acid to redissolve that. As soon as our saturated salt solution is done, we're going to put that in here, drop the silver chloride. I've already got some silver chloride that I dropped with HCl. We're going to let that settle out, then we'll rinse all the silver chlorides when we get them, and we'll go through that conversion process. This has been fun. I have learned one thing from this. I'm not going to take for granted anymore and just drop my contacts. When I do silver contacts, I'm not just going to take it for granted and drop them with copper. I am actually going to take a test tube and put a little of the solution in the test tube and put the copper in to make sure we don't have a bunch of lead like we did this time. I like using the copper to drop because it's a single process. Doing it this way, we're going to have to convert it. Alrighty guys, last few seconds here. And I gotta tell you, full push metals, if this turns any other color but white, I don't have any idea what we're going to do after that. So our solution is saturated. We still have salt down there, so that tells me that no more is going to dissolve. Spray this off. Alright everybody, here's the money shot. Oh, I hope it turns white. Please turn white. And here we go. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Silver chloride. Wonderful. Go ahead and mix that up. What a relief. What a relief. We got our silver. I'm going to go ahead and cover this and leave it for the night to settle out. I'll just put it up here. Have a good one. We'll have to be back at you in a part 4. Just too much to do with this stuff. Have a good one, guys. See ya.